We have a 2017 Rockwood Mini Light 2504S with the Murphy bed, and I've had a few problems with it. I'll show you here. So a while back, the hinge here was coming unscrewed, where it was screwed to here. So I unscrewed it all, pulled the bed back, and then I ran bolts through here in 4 locations to hold the hinge, and screwed everything back on. And then also it was pulling apart here, so then I went inside the compartment, the side compartment, and then put a bolt through into here to hold this together. And then these latches that hold the bed up, they used to be lined up, and now it's not. You can see here it's quite a ways off. The other side's okay. The hinge down here is tight. So I have that problem I have to address. And then I got an even bigger problem. I'm going to pull the bed down and show you what it looks like. Here's the bed in the down position right now. And it's kind of strange to get out of this bed because you got to scoot down a little bit and then go off the side, or scoot all the way down and come off onto the floor. So I usually go scoot down and sit here and get off, and then get back on this spot here. This is the side I sleep on. My wife's on the other side. And I noticed something here. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but you can see where I get off here, it's dipping down. And then if you go down there, it's dipping in the back. And the way I saw this was with the mattress on. And if you look down here, it's all bent up. Now you can really see the gap. If I slide this level across here on my wife's side, it's doing the same, but not so bad. But down there, can't really see, there's a gap there. Looking down it, you can see a little bit, not much on this side. So a while ago too, I noticed this plywood, it's Luan, real thin stuff. There's a seam here was coming up, so I just put tape there, and that's already starting to tear. But there's I'm going to go to the middle here. You can see the gap. So I hate to do it, but I'm going to have to pull this whole thing out and rebuild it, which I'm not looking forward to. And then I'll work on it in my garage, and hopefully I can do a step-by-step procedure of the repair. Hopefully it's not bad. We'll see. So it looks like the best plan is to just take this whole thing off and take it in my garage and work on it there. It's not going to be an easy fix. So what I've done is I've pulled it up in the upright position. I've latched these in place. And then I'm going to take under here on the hinges, I'm going to take these screws all out and the whole bottom. And then I'm going to take these rods and disconnect them here. I'll try and show you how I do that. And then I'll lift this whole thing out of place and take it into the garage. So the best way to remove this is, there's a little groove here. Get your screwdriver in and pry this out, and then it'll pop off. Let me go to the other side, show you what I did. So it popped off, and then this sprung up, and there's that little clip, and it comes right off of the ball joint there. All the screws are out on the hinge down here. I've folded the hinge over, and then I put the fabric down here so when I take it out I don't tear up the couch. Probably the best way to do this would be to just unbolt the couch, pull the couch out, and then do it that way, but I'm going to give it a shot with the couch in place. I'm probably going to regret it later, but I'm going to give it a shot. Before I took the screws out, I put a ratchet strap around here to hold the these legs onto the bed frame itself, and then these pins are in place. They're holding the whole bed up, both of them. Now it's just being held up by that. Once I pull those, the bed's going to try and drop. I'm going to have two people here, to one to lift this side, one the other side, and then lift it out. If I hadn't put this around here, then what would happen is when I took the hinges out, or the hinge screws out, this thing would have tried to pivot, and this would have went and tried to tilt back and drop. So I put that there to hold it in place. Also, it'll help me in when I lift it out, that it'll stay together rather than me fighting it and this flopping. I can't believe it. I was able to do it myself. I just unlatched each side, let it drop down. It only drops down about 1 inch, and then got up in here and lifted it up, and then just laid it down on the couch. So now I just got to get it outside. I got this thing out by myself. It was a struggle, but I did it. So now that it's out, I can really see how bad it is. Look at that. That is so messed up. So looking underneath it, they don't have much bracing. There's one there. That's where the hinge screwed into. So I'm thinking they're probably spaced every 20 inches and welded like that. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and probably, I'm just making this up as I go. Try and pull this sheet off. I pulled a couple staples. There's like 3 or 4 staples along here. I might be able to get under here and just pry this up. This I call it paneling. It's Luan, I think. Pry it up and try and expose this area to see what the damage looks like here where it's really bowed. Oh, I hate this. Anyway, I'll see what happens. Here I go. Pulling the staples up come out pretty easy. Just put it under it, pull it up, and then I'll put pliers on it and pull it out. I already tried right here to use this. I'm going to try this with one hand. Get it in there, pry it up, the staples pull right out. That's so cheaply made, it's not even funny. Okay, there's a bar. Oh my gosh, they don't have anything under here for cross pieces. They got 2 here in the middle. Unbelievable. No wonder it's bending. I went around this one piece here, not that top piece, pulled all the staples off the face here so I can get up under it and pry it. Looks like they don't have many staples here holding us down. Maybe on this side 4 of them, 4, and then maybe 4 here. So there's not much. I don't see anything in the middle at all where the brace is, any staples. So this thing should pop right off, and then I'll just pull it out and see what's underneath. I have it all apart. This is the top side where the mattress sits. Remove that plywood, and I left the paneling there that shows when the bed's folded up. And there was some adhesive in some places that grabbed onto the wood, the paneling, and tore it a little bit, but it's still good. And when I put it back together, I'll just put new adhesive on here. And then you can see here some places the adhesive just was sitting there, it didn't even hardly hold. And then now I'm looking at the damage here. You can see the gap where it's bent. So it's actually right, this section here is where your pillows would be. It's bent down slightly. And then here is where it bent. It looks like the staple, when it went in, it might have weakened this area a little bit. And then it bent. I go around here. And you can see the gap, pretty bad. The other side is just flexed a little bit, not too bad. So what I've come up with for a solution is, let me go like this. I went and bought 3/16 strap metal, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from this point along here to that point inside there. I'm going to take and cut a little bit off here so this strap metal will fit in there and against the side here. I'll put some adhesive here, and then that piece will fit right in here. I'm going to go from this point all the way down to this point here. It'll sit right in there like that, just roughly, so you can see. I'm going to straighten this bar out the best I can. The tubing is only 1/16 inch tubing. It's pretty weak. They should have went with a thicker tubing, but they didn't, probably because of weight. And then once I cut those, I'll have to cut this one right here, this one, and that one. I don't have a TIG welder or a MIG welder for aluminum, and I'm just going to take these angle pieces that I bought here, Home Depot, a pack of 10, and I'm just going to put them in here and pop rivet them in place on both sides. And then since it's going across the bed here, these two here are bowing slightly. These are holding up fine because there's plenty of bracing. And this one here is holding up fine. This is the pillow area. It's not bowing. So what I'm going to do right on this one and this one, I'm going to put strap metal across and then pop rivet it with adhesive to there to strengthen it. I'm going to straighten it all out and do it that way. So I have this cutter here, and I'm just going to just cut it down there like that. Aluminum cuts really easy. And then I have my Gorilla Glue adhesive that I'm going to use to adhere right onto the side here. And then also this paneling here is loose. The adhesive didn't hold. I'm going to put some adhesive in here and then suck it back together, and then maybe run a small bead along here and here just to hold it together. So I should be able to fix this thing. I bought some rigid 1.5 inch insulation here. And what I'm going to do is, once I get this all straightened out, I'm going to put some adhesive on here, just on here, and then put my cut the insulation so it fits down on here, and then I put adhesive on top, and then what I'll do is of the insulation that I put in here, this is 1.5 inches, and the insulation's 1.5 inches, and then put my paneling back on it. And so what it should do is probably strengthen it similar to the walls on a trailer. It should stiffen everything up, hopefully. We'll see what happens. And then if this thing fails again, I'm probably going to just have to build a whole new frame, which I'm hoping it doesn't happen. So let's get on with this. So I got the easy side done first. There's the hard side. I thought I'd start with the easy side. So I've taken this multi-tool and cut these. And then you can see my 3/16 strap metal in here. So I just have it in place, just checking it out. It looks like it's only going here maybe 1/4 inch or so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this, put my adhesive on here, and then put this in place, and then start at one end and work my way down, clamping it like this, and then just pop rivet in place. I put the adhesive on the side, got a lot of holes pre-drilled here, so now I'm just going to set it in place and then pop rivet it. So here's how I'm clamping it. I'm clamping it down and then squeezing it together and then putting in the pop rivets. See the pop rivets? Getting it nice and tight. And I have blocks under there to protect the fascia wood where you can see the bed when it's up. I have this side pretty much done. This sure straightened it out a lot. So stiffen everything up. These L brackets worked out good. So right now, I didn't put the L brackets on these yet because I'll be putting this piece across, all the way across there to strengthen that. Now over here to this side, which I think is going to be kind of a nightmare. I'm going to straighten this out the best I can, but I have a feeling it's not going to be pretty, but it won't show. So far so good. On this side I have a board across and a bunch of clamps. I'll show you what I'm doing here. So I have a bunch of clamps and I'm just slowly tightening them up to bring this whole thing up, and then I'll try and deal with this crease here. Try and straighten that out a little bit once I get it up in position a little bit. So I've done a few cranks on it and working my way up. And this is a really bad side. I was able to move my clamps around and slowly adjust it and pound things, and I got it pretty close. And then when I put the strap in right here next to it, I'll work it and get it straighter. But I got it pretty darn straight, better than I thought I would. So now I just have like a small gap in the one spot. And then this here, where the crease was, this is the crease area. I was able to straighten it out and then pound here and pound on the other side a little bit. And I got a lot straighter. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these out here like I did the other side, and then put my strap metal, the 3/16 strap metal, all the way along here, and work it just like I did before and get it lined up flush all the way down. with my clamps as I strap it. So this side's ready, and now I have all the boards off. I must say that it turned out pretty good. A lot better than I thought it would. So I'm going to go ahead and put everything together here on this rail here. Now I have these rails done. I'm doing the cross pieces. I did this one already, and it's all glued in place and pop riveted. And then this other one, I got it ready to go. Flip, and then I'm going to flip it up and pop rivet it in place to strengthen here. And then when I was glancing at all this, I noticed that near the end, here's where the legs are. For some reason, this one here is bowed upward. I don't know why, but while I got this all apart, I'm going to straighten it. So I went out and bought another one of these straps to just put along here. So, and then on to the next phase of this. I got all my supports fixed on this thing. Everything's vacuumed up. And now I just got a few other things I got to do. One of them is that it's dropped down here, the plywood to the metal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot the Gorilla Glue in the gap here all the way around, and then clamp it in place. And then where it hasn't separated, like here, I'm just going to go around and put the adhesive here all the way around the joints, everywhere, so it'll adhere the metal to the plywood, glue-on plywoods, so it'll hold it in place better, because I'm going to put my insulated panels in once everything dries up on the joints, on these joints here that I'm going to fill up, and then it'll all adhere and make everything strong and bond together. So I'll just be doing that, putting the adhesive in there and then clamping it in place until it dries. Before I go and put caulking in here and clamp it up, I want to show you a couple things. Here's the face paneling here that you see when the Murphy bed's up. You can see how thin this is. It's like, I don't know, maybe an 1/8 inch or less. And then the paneling that goes on top where your mattress sits is probably 3/16, almost a 1/4 inch. And then you got your trim piece here. It's come off the staples, so what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of adhesive here and then glue it on there also, so when I clamp it. And then this trim piece, I'm just going to put some dabs of the adhesive back here and then clamp it in place too after I get the plywood back on, but that'll be in a little bit. I've got everything with the adhesive underneath the rails wherever I could, and I got it all clamped in place nice and tight. And then I ran the adhesive all the way around the tubing, all sides of it, and this should help strengthen everything, kind of lock it all together. And then also if there's any creaking between wood and the metal, it should help cushion it. So it should be a lot stronger. It should make it more rigid too, having all this adhesive all the way around it. Next step is to cut my insulated foam board to put between these sections in here. And that'll even add more strength. So I'll be adhering them down to the plywood here and the paneling, and then I'll be putting my sheets back on with more adhesive on top. It'll kind of sandwich it just like the trailer siding is, and add more rigid strength to it. It's the next day. I have all the staples are pulled, everything's cleaned up. I do have a little bit of wood on here that's stuck, but I'm leaving it. It's stuck on there very good. I got the 1.5" rigid insulation all cut, ready to go. All the caulking for the adhesion adhesive is all dried up and hard, so it's a lot stronger. So it's bows a little bit here, but once I get done and put glue down here and my panels in, the insulation panels, and then glue the top and glue the plywood down, it's going to be a lot more rigid. So let's get putting these panels on. It's looking good so far. Here's my adhesive, and then I put these in place, and then I just use this to push down and squeeze it into the adhesive. So I'll keep going here. All the insulation panels are glued in place, and this is the construction adhesive that I use. It's all-purpose. It works on several applications for adhesive. So it's like $10 a tube. So I got that all glued down. Now I'll start putting the top on. I have the first section ready to put on. So I got it. It goes up to this seam here. I got it all the way around. And so hopefully I never have to take this thing apart, because if I do, it'd be a nightmare. I'd probably just start all over again and build a new one. But it should be pretty strong when I'm done. I got the second panel on right there. And then on the seam right here, I had the adhesive all in there, and it was trying to move up slightly. So what I did was I just used my pop rivets on the joint. And then what I'll do is I'll just put a piece of that nice cloth tape across the top of it to protect the mattress that we have. And then I'm going to take this Gorilla Glue and this here, just pull it back and then put a few dabs all the way down it, all the way around, and then tape it off in place and let it dry. That's what I've done here on the edge. I taped it down to hold it in place while it dries up. So this thing turned out really well. It's really strong. I couldn't do this before. It's solid all the way through. So I'm pretty happy with it, a lot better. And it didn't add much weight. That foam insulation is really light. And then the metal is aluminum, so it's light. So I didn't add much weight at all to this. So I'll put the adhesive around the outside edges and tape it off and show you what that looks like. So I put all the adhesive in, dabbed probably every 6 inches all the way down, and then taped it in place until it dries up. I got my parts laid out, my shocks to go back in, my straps, and the headboard piece here. Once everything dries, I'll be putting it back on. So all in all, I think this thing turned out very well. Took a while, so I'll let you know at the end how long it took me. I have everything back on and in place. I'm going to leave the tape on here, holding the side pieces until I got it in place, and then I'm going to take them off. I got my straps on. to hold the bed down. I'm going to keep these taped down in place so I don't have to fight them the whole way. I have the side struts here taped up out of the way so they won't be swinging in my way, and the headboard piece back on. So I'm going to put it back in the trailer now. And I must say that this thing turned out a lot better than I thought it would. It's so much straighter now than it was before. It was really bad. It's a lot stronger. So the cost for this was $140 for everything. The rivets, the installation, the aluminum, and the caulking. So I'm happy with it. I wish I hadn't had to do this, but I guess it's better than it was before. I wish Rockwood had taken care of the problem before and strengthened this bed when they manufactured it. It would have been a lot easier. But the way it's put together now, I don't want to pull it apart if it fails again. Well, got it back in place. Took a couple people. So it turned out pretty good. Nice and solid. Before I crawled across here without the mattress on, these panels would dip down and you hear cracking and stuff. Now it's nice and solid. I'll show you something here. When I put this strut back on, I had removed these little clips here. They're actually meant to just pry up and slide up out of the way, then they come off. So it's kind of a bear to get them back on. But when it was extended out, I was able to just push it down and pop it right on. It went on very good. And this turned out very well. So I'm going to stick the mattress on and show you what it looks like with the mattress on. Here it is with the mattress on. Now I'm going to pull it up in the upright position. Well, here it is completed, and the bed's in the upright position. Remember in the beginning this latch here was not lining up? Well, with all my straightening of the frame and everything, it lines up perfectly fine now. I'll show you up here. As you can see, it lines up perfectly fine, slides in, probably better than it ever has. So if you have a problem like this with your Murphy bed, now you have an idea what needs to be done to fix it. Or you can just have a service center replace the whole frame if you don't feel up to doing this. With the factory one, have them order it. But it'd be better to beef it up, and it'll last a long time. So take a look at your Murphy bed and let me know if you have the same problem. I'd appreciate it. I'm curious how many people out there have this problem, and some people that probably haven't ever looked to see if you do have it. Take a look and see what you got. Maybe you can see and maybe cry like I did when I first saw it. So feel free to subscribe if you like, and hit the bell icon. I have around 40 videos right now out of modifications and pointers and other things I've done to the trailer, solar system and all that, inverter, and might be helpful to you in some way. And one other thing, almost forgot here, this whole job took me 3-4 hour days, and then I did the adhesive at night so it could dry overnight. So it took that from start to finish. That's including going to the metal shop to get the metal and the hardware store to get other things. So take care everybody, and happy camping.